So, I was planning on making a big deal about how Sam Mendes directed one film, American Beauty, and it already wins Best Picture, and how it's the greatest directorial debut of all time and all that, but apparently I completely forgot my history because this was not the first time this happened, nor the second, nor the third. This was actually the 6th time a directorial debut won Best Picture. 6! That is way more common than I anticipated. The previous 5 times were Delbert Mann's Marty, Jerome Robbins' West Side Story, Robert Redford's Ordinary People, James L. Brooks' Terms of Endearment, and Kevin Costner's Dances with Wolves. So, yeah, this isn't special at all. And it ruined all of my plans for the opening of this video, so... yeah, I got nothing. Let's just talk about the film. American Beauty stars Kevin Spacey, Annette Bening, Thora Birch, and Wes Bentley, and it tells the story of the mother of all dysfunctional families everywhere. Lester hates his wife because she doesn't respect him, among other reasons. Carolyn hates her husband because he's a deadbeat, among other reasons. And Jane, their daughter, hates them both, because they're both terrible. But don't worry, Jane, you're terrible too. We follow the members of the family and their relationships throughout the film, along with a few other important characters, as we see the family dynamic crumble in slow motion before our very eyes. How wonderful. To those hoping for even the slightest inkling of positivity from this film, don't hold your breath. American Beauty is a super cynical, blunt, and unapologetic exploration of American suburban life, following a family in crisis. So it's a very depressing movie in many ways. But damn if it isn't captivating. The truth is, American Beauty is a film that I'm really conflicted about. On the one hand, I think the film is extremely well made. The film looks great, especially during the dream sequences exhibited by Lester. These scenes are a major highlight of the film, with great use of music and effective cinematography and editing. The performance by Kevin Spacey was terrific, and very deserving of the Best Actor award. And the other performances were great across the board as well. The writing and character building in this movie are also fantastic. The characters were extremely well defined, and all of them have a magnetic screen presence. The dialogue was sharp, biting, and engaging. It did a great job at maintaining my interest and focus. The pacing was also really good. The whole film feels like it's building up to an explosion that you're not sure how it will look like. Also, the ending has a very thought-provoking monologue in it that'll keep you thinking after the credits roll. So yeah, it's a really well-made film, extremely watchable and rewatchable, and all of this by a first-time director, which makes it even more impressive. So why am I conflicted exactly? Well, it's because the characters here are awful. I don't mean that they're written badly, I just mean that as people, they were so insufferable that it actually affected my viewing experience in a negative way. This film is basically 2 hours of terrible people being horrible to one another, and that's just not my idea of a good time, you know? Maybe it is to some people, but not to me. So I found myself captivated, but also cringing and shrugging so badly on so many occasions. It was pretty painful watching how awkward and awful these people are. Jane, the daughter, was a typical teenage douchebag. Lester was a spineless loser, and Carolyn was a domineering bitch. And those are just the 3 main ones. There are so many other flawed characters in this movie, like the freaky pervert voyeur, his cartoonishly over-the-top homophobic dad, and Jane's ridiculously narcissistic blonde friend, who Lester has the hots for. The creep. But by far the worst of all of these people is Carolyn. She makes herself miserable by overly focusing on her failing career, and then she takes all of it out on her husband instead of supporting him. She even flirts with other men right in front of him, and then she cheats on him too? What a bitch. And then she slaps her daughter? She's awful. I know she's a miserable person, but it's all her doing, so it's hard for me to feel any sympathy. I love the scene where Lester finally grows some balls and puts his bitch of a wife in her place. I know I'm using the word bitch a lot here, but I'm just calling it the way I see it, guys, okay? So yeah, I love that scene. Too bad he's a bum, so he isn't exempt from criticism here. No character is. Lester might be the best out of the worst, but they're all just such terrible people, it's legitimately hard to watch. The utter disdain these people have for one another made for one of the most uncomfortable viewing experiences I've ever had. I understand that was the point of the movie, and to that end, the film does an amazing job, but for me, as a simple man who enjoys watching films, sometimes the point itself can be a negative. I'm okay with films that make me feel uncomfortable at certain designated instances, but if the whole point is to make me feel uncomfortable, then I'm just not gonna like it very much. And yet, the movie does take a hold of you. It's a film about very flawed people who are desperate for connection, relationships, love, validation, and feeling good about themselves. It's a deeply entrenched desire that we all feel and know very well, and that's why American Beauty speaks to so many people. So even though I personally have my issues with it, I'm not blind to the fact that American Beauty is a film that has something in it for pretty much everybody. American Beauty lands near the middle of my list, just behind another Directorial debut winner, Marty. For me, the film was great, but the lack of any characters that I actually liked really hurt my experience. Even though I understood all of them, it was hard for me to feel for them. Still, I do recommend this film to pretty much everybody, and for you guys to make up your own conclusions. Up next is the 73rd Best Picture winner, the Swords and Sandals epic from the director of Alien and Blade Runner, Gladiator. How does this one compare to Ridley Scott's prior masterpieces? We shall see. Check back again for the next video of DB Reviews Oscar Madness Marathon and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss a thing. Thank you all very much, and let the journey continue.